Goths were a branch of the Germanic tribes who ruled Western Europe for several centuries during the early Middle Ages. The most widely accepted theory suggests that they migrated from Scandinavia to Central and Southeastern Europe, though their exact origins and homeland remain a subject of debate to this day. Most of what is known about the Goths before the 6th century AD comes from a single source, the book Getica, attributed to a writer named Jordanes, who may have been of Gothic descent. According to the historian Jordanes, the original homeland of the Goths was a cold island called Skansa, which is believed to refer to Scandinavia. They migrated from there under the leadership of their king, Beric, traveling by sea in 3 ships toward a land called Gothiskansa. However, ancient historians may have referred to the Goths under different names, such as the Scythians, Ascomani, or Saka, because they initially settled in the region of Scythia. The Romans, from the early 3rd century AD, classified them among the so-called barbarian peoples. In the early 3rd century, Gothic tribes began migrating in small groups to Eastern Europe, particularly to present-day Poland, and later moved into the steppes of Ukraine and southern Russia. They started attacking the eastern borders of the Roman Empire, and these raids intensified in the mid-3rd century. A major battle took place between the Goths and the Romans, in which the Roman Emperor Decius was killed, and the Roman forces suffered a crushing defeat. The Goths then advanced into Anatolia and attacked Greek cities. One of the most famous events during the Gothic invasion of Greek cities was the sacking of Ephesus and the destruction of the Temple of Artemis, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. They also raided the coasts of the Aegean Sea, Greece, and Macedonia. However, Emperor Claudius II managed to resist and defeat them. By the 3rd century, the Goths had split into 2 groups, the Ostrogoths, Eastern Goths, and the Visigoths, Western Goths, each with its own independent history. Emperor Valens fought against the Ostrogoths, but suffered a catastrophic defeat at the Battle of Adrianople, where his army was annihilated and he himself was killed. This battle, which took place in the 4th century AD, was one of the most significant defeats the Romans ever suffered. The Goths then besieged Constantinople, but failed to capture it. Later, Emperor Theodosius I allowed them to settle along the empire's borders and granted them autonomy. During the 4th century, the Goths converted to Christianity, adopting the Arian doctrine. Saint Ulfilas translated the Bible into the Gothic language, marking the first literary production of the Goths. Gradually, over the centuries, they transitioned from paganism to Arian Christianity. By this time, the Roman Empire had split into the Eastern Roman Byzantine Empire and the Western Roman Empire. In the early 5th century, the Visigoths broke their treaties with the Romans. Led by their king, Alaric, they invaded Macedonia, Greece, and Italy, eventually sacking Rome in 410 AD. This was the first time in 800 years that the city of Rome had been plundered. Alaric then established a Visigothic kingdom in what is now France, marking the beginning of what would later be known as the Kingdom of the Visigoths. The Visigoths later expanded their territory to include Spain and Portugal. Initially, they made Toulouse, in modern-day France, their capital. However, after their defeat by the Franks in the early 6th century, they lost most of their French territories and concentrated their rule in Spain. They then moved their capital to Toledo, known as Toletum in Latin. Meanwhile, the Ostrogoths faced the threat of the Huns, who invaded Eastern Europe under the leadership of Attila. To counter this threat, the Ostrogoths allied with the Romans. After Attila's death, the Hunnic Empire collapsed, and the Ostrogoths resumed their expansion within the Eastern Roman Empire. Under their leader Theodoric the Great, the Ostrogoths gained power in Italy. By the late 5th century, The Western Roman Empire had collapsed when the Germanic commander Odoacer deposed the last Western Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus, and became the ruler of Italy. The Byzantine emperor Zeno encouraged Theodoric to invade Italy, and Theodoric successfully defeated and killed Odoacer, establishing Ostrogothic rule over Italy. Theodoric made Ravenna the capital of the Ostrogothic kingdom and ruled Italy in practice. The Ostrogothic kingdom became a powerful state, extending from western Serbia and the Balkans to eastern France, encompassing nearly all of Italy. However, in the 6th century, the Byzantine Emperor Justinian sought to restore and reunite the Roman Empire. He launched military campaigns against the Ostrogoths, gradually capturing Sicily, Milan, Rome, and finally Ravenna, the Gothic capital. The last Ostrogothic king, Attila, was defeated, leading to the collapse of the Ostrogothic kingdom by the mid-6th century. As for the Visigoths, their kingdom continued to exist, covering Spain, Portugal, and parts of western France. In the late 6th century, King Recared converted to Catholicism to align with the Roman Catholic Church. Over time, the Visigoths abandoned Arian Christianity and embraced Catholicism, especially after the Third Council of Toledo. The Visigothic kingdom remained in power until the early 8th century, when it fell to the Muslim conquest of Al-Andalus. The Muslim commander Tariq ibn Ziyad defeated the last Visigothic king, Roderick, referred to as Luzij in Islamic sources. From that point on, the Iberian Peninsula, modern-day Spain and Portugal, came under Umayyad rule and became known as Al-Andalus,